Good afternoon, everyone. So we are the group 2, and today we will discuss to you all about what are the sources of credit information and know the credit investigation procedure and reports in conducting a loan process. But first, I am Christiana Dorestrulia, your first reporter. So from the very first step, the lender should be responsible to look for this information to their prospect borrower to extend credit so that it will become easy for them to approve a loan. So they will gather information that will help it to decide whether to grant a loan or not. So what is credit? So a credit is an arrangement to receive goods, cash or services now and pay later for them in future. For the simple terms, that credit is to borrow money from the lender. So in doing credit, the finance charge included all the related costs like interest and processing fee. So there are different kinds of borrower, like for example the individuals, the partnership firms, the companies, the cooperatives, and other business entities. So why is it that they engage credit? Is it because one of the reasons that I look for it is that to make an additional capital, make an investment, and then for individuals, they use it for emergency purposes and other things. So the market research department will provide the credit information. This is due to the observation that researchmen engage in collection of needed information. The sources of credit information. So this is vital in lending company. This information will give to the companies if they will grant a loan to their prospective borrower. So it is the information about a company or a person which is it is the ability to pay the debt, or they will examine especially by banks before they decided to lend money. Below are the sources of credit information that the company may use in making sound decision. The first one is financial statement, credit rating agencies, the collection policy, commercial banks, and the last one is trade checking. The first sources of information is financial statement. So the financial statement is the credit analysis for firms that intend to get credit. So financial ratios like liquidity ratio, asset utilization, and profitability ratio. So the liquidity ratio is the company's ability to pay debt obligations and its margin or of safety through the calculation of current ratio and operating cash flow. The profitability ratio is to assess the company's ability to earn profit from its operation or sales. The financial statement also could provide a good credit analysis for firms too that intend to get credit. And also for individuals, the financial statement is if somebody will apply a motor loan, for example, a motor loan. So the firm will able to know what are your assets, your bank accounts, do you have savings, or what the common is your monthly income. So in this way that it can give an initial impression if you are capable of paying the credit that they apply. Furthermore, the asking this kind of information is not unethical because they will able to know your capabilities of paying obligation, and the information they will ask is not complicated but the usual one, and this information will be private to other firms. A second source of information is the credit rating agencies. So they gather and distribute information about the credit position of individual, firms, and position. So the credit rating agencies is a rating agency. So it is a company that assists the financial strength of a company and government entities, especially their ability to meet the principal and interest payments on their debt. It is a level of confidence that the borrower will honor its debt obligation as agreed. So it is a credit performance, and also it is a company or an individual. If an individual applying a loan, so this will able to know if the report of the credit rating is good or bad. So if the last loan they applied is paid in a due time, or the performance measure that they tested. For example, The agency here in the Philippines that assess credit rating is Fel Rating. So these agencies sell information to their subscribers containing the credit performance of many companies from different industries. The third sources of information is the commercial banks. So it is a financial institution that one of the best sources of credit information, especially when it comes to personal loan, personal lines of credit, and other loans. So these are banks. Banks are the convenient sources of credit as many people already have their accounts with them. So everyone has an existing business relationship with them. So though banks do not give this specific information, particularly deposit balances, because of the deposit secrecy law. So the banks will give out data on whether the company has a good credit standing with them or not. And the next sources of information is trade checking. So it is the sources of credit that comes along with daily operations. So in trade checking, that you can call to check if the customers pay on time and easy to deal with you. It's a kind of reference in which one trader gives an opinion as to creditworthiness of another trader in the same trade, especially to a supplier. Also, that trade checking is the appearance on your credit report of an account that established with a lender. So each transactions include detailed information about the account, including payment history, whether it is good or it is positive or negative. So in addition, the trade checking is an action performed by market researchers in order to gain insight on the actual performance of the brand. The last sources of information is the collection policy. So they establish appropriate credit policies and collection procedure to the success of any kind of lending company in determining their borrower if capable and fit to their policy. So they established the appropriate credit policies and collection procedure, and then it is vital to their success of any kind of lending businesses. A collection policy is vital to the success of a business. So deciding what types of credit to offer, or even in offering credit, is right for your business. So considering in knowing the customers to determine a credit policy. So the more dependent you are to your repeated borrower or your repeated customers, the more likely it is that you'll extend credit to them. So the collection policy is one of the factors in considering when deciding to extend a credit. A collection policy is one of the factors in considering when deciding to whether to extend credit. So as mentioned before, that extending credit is not for everyone, but it is a smart strategy for many businesses. So the companies may have their collection policy as part of their credit policy, but the collection policy is worth considering on its own. So the company will determine their creditor if their prospective clients will able to observe and follow collection policy. For example, if they will borrow any amount, and then they will pay at the end of the month, so they should follow the collection policy, because a collection policy is one of the bases that you are a good borrower.
By the way, I'm Pritzel Im Ingin. I'm a second reporter, the title Sources of Credit Information. In my report is about a credit investigation. A credit investigation is a method used by a financial organization to assess a potential customer's capacity to repay a loan. This can contain information such as their income, salary, and credit history. So, like for example, in credit and investigation, When a person applies for a loan from a bank or any other financial institution, they are asked to disclose details about their financial history. So this can also include their income, salary, and credit history. Credit history is a record of how a person has managed his or her credit in the past, including total debt load, a number of credit lines, and timelines of payments. The details will be verified through a credit investigation, which might include verifying an applicant's income with their employer. So, the second is importance of credit investigation. Credit investigation is a crucial step of the bank loan approval process. You can get an approved bank loan without going through this important procedure. So, a credit investigation is a procedure undertaken by a financial institution to vet a potential client's ability to pay back a loan. Failure to pass this procedure means disapproval of a loan. So, like for example, once the basic bank loan requirements had been submitted, the lender will verify the applicant's personal, employment, business, and also the bank information. So, what does a credit investigator do? In order to determine whether a customer is capable of repaying a loan, banks and other lenders use the customer financial history as a measure. In an effort to reduce the risk, banks and loan companies hire a credit investigator to perform credit check on each loan applicant. So, credit investigation is selection may be completed in the following three stages. 1. Collecting information. 2. Assessing collected information. And 3. Preparing credit report, forming an opinion. So, it is going to discuss the next reporter, Miss Ella Marie Enriquez and Miss Espirituso, about the following three stages of credit investigation.
So, good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Charlene A. Espiritu. So, my topic for this afternoon is all about collecting information. A lot of sources are there to collect information, such as first, personal interview. So, personal interview give the candidate an opportunity to learn the exact nature of the company's needs. So, next, loan application. So, loan application used by borrower to apply for a loan. The loan application is crucial to determining whether the lender will grant the request for the funds or credit. Next is published financial statement, if any. So, provided a snapshot a corporation financial health, given insight into performance, operations, and cash flow. Physical variation and observation. So, physical variation is an important aspect of adulting. Without variation of asset, and adulting is incomplete. So next, online CIB. So, Credit Information Diva was set up to in Bangladesh Bank on 18 August 1992 without the objectives of minimize the extended of default loans. CIB was being provided its online services since 19 July 2011. Next is confidential report from the other banks. From the word confidential, dili pwede ipagawas sang public na report kundili Silan lang niya masayod si Anna report daw unansod kay which is confidential. Next, registration records. So, kung saan pinapasok ang opisyal na pagpaparehistro at pagkakakilanlan ng isang individual na elektro at isang listahan ng halalan kung saan siya bumubuto mula noong petsa ng pagpaparehistro. Is Information Credit Rating Agency. So, helping to reduce the informative asymmetry between leader and investor on the side and issuer on the other side about credit worthless of a company or a country. Next is press report regarding purchase, sale, pending case, or verdict of case. So, isang press report, adi mo makitaan yang mga case ng mga purchase, how pending, na uno-uno nilan, kanilang situation, kung yag kakuan pa, yung press report, yang mo handle si na problema regarding si ang press stock from the market kung uno-uno yang status.
Good morning everyone. Good morning ma'am. I am the fourth reporter for the topic is all about the sources of credit information and credit investigation procedures and reports. So the first to be discussed is all about the assessing collected information. So when we say assessing, it is to figure out the data or the information from the given situation. So once the information is collected, it must be assessed for different dimensions. So the first is giving input to the final spreadsheets or the software. So there are different dimensions to figure out the information. So in collecting information, we should put the data or the final sheets for us to know that those data or those information is the vital for the process of investigation. So the second is conduct CRG analysis to determine the risk grid. So what do you mean by the CRG analysis? This CRG analysis is credit risk grading. So it means it is a collective definition based on the pre-specified skill and reflects the underlying credit risk for a given exposure. So under the credit risk grading is the types of risk, the financial risk, business risk, industry risk, or the management risk, and the last is the security risk and relationship risk. So this CRG, it helps the banks and financial institution understand the risk involved in a different credit transaction. So this CRG analysis will be the one who will be handling the different risk, or dito natin malalaman kapag ang isang organization or ang business ay may matinding kahinaan. So to determine the status of the loan seeker considering the 5CS and the 5PS. So in the 5PS included character, capacity, capital, and condition, and collateral. And the 5PS included also a person, purpose, product, place, and the profit. So why we need to determine the status of the loan seeker? So it is because that this 5C is it is a system used by lenders to gauge the creditworthiness of potential borrowers. So the first is character. So we need to determine the character of the loan seeker. It is because character is the applicant credit history. So you need to figure out the history of that applicant in. So the second is the capacity. The capacity of the loan seeker is the applicant debt to income ratio. The third is the capital. So the capital is the amount of the money an applicant has. So we need to determine the status also of the loan seeker. So the fourth is the condition. So the condition is the purpose of the loan, amount involved, and prevailing interest rate. So we need to considering these 5 Cs. So in the last is the collateral. Collateral is an asset that can back or act as security for the loan. So that is the 5 Cs. So when we say 5 Bs, it is the key marketing elements used to position a business strategically. So the first is the person. This 5 Bs is person is refers the staff, sales people, and those who work for the business. So as we observe, if you are in the business, so this person is the one involved in the specific transaction. So the second is the promotion. So promotion is the activities that make the business more known to consumers. So when we say promotion, so the business to be known to consumer. The third is the product. Product is refers to the product and services offered by a business. Product decision include function, packaging, appearance, warranty, and the quality. So the fourth is the place. Place is refers the where product or services of the business is seen, made, sold, or distributed. So it is the place where you can buy, or shall we say, for example, a market. So the last is the profit. Profit is the pricing activity to gain or to have and more income. The third is the conduct SWOT analysis. So when we say SWOT analysis, S is strength, weaknesses, characteristics, opportunities, and threats. So this SWOT analysis is S refers to the character of a business which give it advantage over its competitors. Weakness of a business which make it disadvantage relative to competitors. So it is understandable that if we say weakness, so kahinaan ng isang kampanya na wala sa ibang kampanya. The third is the opportunities. These elements in a company external environment that allow it to formulate and implement strategies to increase profitability. So when we refer it, so if the business have the strategy, so it will have the opportunities to increase or gain his income to have a profitability. So the last is threats. So threats, it is an element in the external environment that could endanger the integrity and profitability of the business. So the last is the review, the technical, managerial, marketing, and financial aspects. So when we doing reports in the credit investigation, you need to review the technical, the managerial, marketing, and financial aspect. It is because managerial, it relating to or characteristics of a management or a manager. So marketing also, it is promoting and seller product as a services. And the financial aspect is relating finance or finances, relating also to a person who manage money, capital, or credit. So this is the very important if we do reports in collected information. So we need to review all the data for us to have an insured information from the given situation. So that's all for my report.
Preparing credit report and forming opinion. Okay, so before a company lends you money, they want to know if you are capable and willing to repay the debt. So it can do this by reviewing your finances, including your bank account balances. They can also look at your history of repaying other debts by reviewing your reports. So in short, credit report is a summary of your financial transactions. So in credit report includes personal information such as name and address. So in your personal information should be stated and accurate and up to date to verify your identity, of course. So kailangang nakalagay ng tama yung name mo at address para nang sa ganun hindi ka magkaroon ng problema. Next is nature of the firm and date of establishment. Kung saan ka nagtatrabaho at kung kailan pa. Next is nature of the business. So kung anong klase ang trabaho mo. So for example, if you say a company in the private sector, so you evaluate the nature of your company based on its nature to earn profit. Next is investment in a business. So kung may iba ka pa bang pinagkakakitaan or may iba ka pa bang negosyo. Next is subsidiary if any. So dito, for example, may negosyo ka. Diyan tinitingnan kung ang negosyo mo ay sayo lang ba o may ka-partnership ka. Annual net income. So, diyan nakikita nila kung magkano ang pera mong nakita sa loob ng isang taon. Market reputation. Okay. Sa market reputation, diyan tinitingnan kung ang business mo ba ay maganda at kung ano yung takbo at kung patok pa ba sa mga tao. Means of finance. Diyan nakikita kung saan nanggagaling ang pera mo. Diyan din nakikita kung ano yung mga businesses mo. And next is particular of bank accounts. So, in applying credit particular on bank accounts, it means checking his or her bank accounts if they exist. But it doesn't require to post in your credit report. Kumbaga, it only will base on your credit score kung magkano lang talaga yung dapat na ibigay sa'yo. Next is particular of owner. So, dyan chine-check kung yung bank accounts mo, kung yung nakapangalan sa bank accounts mo ay kung talaga ikaw ba.
Nature and value of securities. There are three types of securities. First is equity. It provides ownership rights to holders. Second is debt, that is essentially loans repaid with periodic payments. And lastly is hybrids,
which combine the aspects of debt and equity. CRG score if applicable. The CRG or credit risk grading. It is a calculation for measuring credit risk. It also helps to determine credit risk for banks and financial institutes and take decisions in both before and after the approval of loan facilities of a customer. SWOT analysis summary. SWOT analysis summary. SWOT means SWOT, which stand for strength, weakness, and O for opportunities, and T for threats. The strengths and weaknesses are the internal of the company in which can have a control and can be changed, while the opportunities and threats are external things of a company that are happening outside of a company. It is to study the internal and external environments of a company through the identification and analysis of SWOT. Technical soundness. Technical soundness is a good condition where the technical is involving or needing special skills for knowledge. Rating information. It is information provided by its purpose of determining the initial credit rating for the notes or undertaking credit rating, surveillance on the notes. Also, it means any oral or written information provided by a rating agency for purpose. Marketability of the products. A marketability is a measure of whether a product will appeal to a buyer to buy and sell at a certain price range to generate a profit. It also includes public relations, advertising, trade shows, and other functions such as product quality assurance and documentation. Impact of the market on the society and its environment. The impact of the product on the society and environment, it has an effect toward us people, because every product has economic, environmental, and social impact. Also, it's developing well the efforts have made to identify social impact. Recommendations as to whether the loan should be granted or not. So, when granting a loan, the applicant should have a stable job and in a right age, enough income to make or pay the loan. Also, pay in a shorter time so that the bank will like how you manage your responsibility. Extract from the credit policy. The credit policy, which include credit applications, sales, agreements, contract, purchase, orders, delivery receipt, invoices, and etc. Unfortunately, it also means cash flow complications or worse. Example is credit eligibilities. Standards that confirm they have previous obligations. Second, credit terms where customers are vocally billed with a series of invoices. Third, clear documentation. It is about payment process. And lastly, is collection will be reported to a credit agencies. Any other vital information that may affect the credit decision. So, there are 5 biggest factors that affect credit. the payment history, amounts owed, and lastly, the types of credit in use. So, selection of borrower. On the basis of recommendation, made in the credit report, the responsible credit officer will reassess the position of borrower and may ask the further clarification from the credit report. If the borrower seems to be prospective, he is finally selected. So, borrower must have the necessary skills and sources to put the credit to productive use, must be creditworthy, must be committed to the enterprise for which they are borrowing, and must repay their loans. Kumbaga niyang selections of borrower, once intact dang information, formulate da ng opinion. Pwede da makadecide kung sino yang i-grant ng loan.